This week on Unconventional Lives, we're discussing the importance of quality sleep as we age.
Yes. One of us loves quality sleep, and one of us snores. We'll let you guess who.
Whatever. We're glad you're here.
Hey, I'm Craig.
And I'm Kellie.
Join us as we share unfiltered, empowering conversations about love, marriage, fitness, travel, and living boldly.
Tune in as we prove you can have it all and live an unconventional life.
Hey, welcome back to the Unconventional Lives show. We are so glad you are here with us. And today we're talking about sleep.
We are talking about sleep, one of my favorite things in life.
Yes, my little deep sleeper.
I do love my sleep.
Yeah, and it is really an important topic, especially as we age. And I think a lot of folks don't take into account how important it is on an everyday basis for your health and your overall well-being.
Yeah, because it really does affect everything.
Yeah. So before we get into that, a couple of housekeeping items. You may have noticed that we have slightly rearranged our set. For those of you listening on the podcast, you can check us out on YouTube.
Yep.
youtube.com/@unconventionallives. And you can see our all new set. The biggest change is this bird right there on the thing. Yes. So the little bird is, and really everything else is the same.
I love my little bird.
Yeah. So yeah, we, I kind of got a wild hair and I'm like, I don't love our set. We're going to redo it. And you're like, oh.
That is not what I said.
No.
I said, okay.
Like, what kind of kookiness are you up to now? So I just dove in and we really changed the stuff out of it.
It's a little bit more welcoming.
Yeah. And I think maybe the impetus was my mother called over the weekend.
Yes, she did.
My mother is amazing. She's our number one fan.
Yes, she is.
She actually may be our only fan.
Our one and only fan.
Our one and only fan. So, hey, Mom, thanks.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you. But she called up and she goes, hey, I think you and Kellie should switch sides. And I was like, I know what she's going to say. Because the things like, when you do a podcast, we've done multiple podcasts, right? This is the first one we've ever videoed anything.
Yes.
And so like, as soon as she said it, I'm like, oh, I know what it is. Every time I smile, I have this gap right here in my tooth and I see it every time. And I said it to you just the day before and you're like, I've never noticed that before. I'm like, that's all I see when I watch our podcast now. I'm like, look at that.
But it's from the side.
I know. It's just like, it's like the weird things that people see. Now all you people at home are going to be like, look at the big gap.
Right.
So yeah, she's like, I have some feedback for you on your podcast. I'm like, okay.
Maybe if you change sides.
Yeah, maybe you and Kellie should change sides. And I'm like, oh, my tooth, right? And she's like, no, your hair. You look like you're going bald on that side. And I'm like, well, Mom, for the record, I'm equally bald on both sides. So I'm not sure changing sides would be an improvement.
That's the situation.
But,
that's just what happens.
So there you go. Then I redid the whole set. And now, does it look like I'm less bald in our new redesign set?
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe.
100%.
I don't know what makes me look,
You look great, babe.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, speaking about our new set and our podcast, and, we have one fan, my mother. One of the things that happens when you are starting a podcast, especially now we're doing it on YouTube, which is a totally different thing for us.
Lots of videos.
Yeah, we watch lots of videos. We've watched a lot of like how to do a successful YouTube video. And there's just a billion things you can do and should do. And, we've been getting better at how to create reels and post things out there so you can find them and thumbnails. And, we're learning all of these things. But one of the sort of underlying threads whenever you watch other content creators and they post about like, here's all the things we do to be successful. And here's how you know if you're successful. And they're all different. But the one thing that is a universal common thread is, you've made it when you have haters. So this last week we got our first hater.
Yeah.
Yeah,
did.
actually we got 2 haters.
We did. Not the same.
Not the same hater. They're different haters. But it's
But they're not in the same week. You know,
Yeah.
they were different weeks.
yeah. And it was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But it stings.
It stings, but it also, they watched.
Well, and it's an
So-
interesting way. I mean, this is kind of part of the process. This is sort of the game, I think, and a lot of
Yeah.
content creators have to play this game, which is like, okay, why are they hating it? Are they hating it because they're jealous of what you've created, or are they hating it because it genuinely sucks? And so I don't know. I'll let y'all decide and let us know whether it genuinely sucks. And I think, on any given day at any given moment, they actually both of them like replied back to a reel, which is funny because it's like 15 to 30 seconds out of
a short
45 minutes.
Sure.
That it's like, that was painful. It's like,
Or,
okay, you should have been here. It was
Well,
talking
I
about
also
painful.
think that it, 2 things. First and foremost, nowadays there's so much anonymity with social media that
Yeah.
human nature just hides behind the cloak of anonymity, and they just throw out, phrases and, ashes that they wouldn't normally, I would hope that they wouldn't normally say to another human being's face. But I think people just hide behind that cloak, and you got to take it with a grain of salt. And then
Yeah.
second, I think to myself, well, maybe they took it out of context, took the clip out of context or whatever, and didn't listen to the whole thing. Or maybe they're not even in that season to benefit from the knowledge that we're sharing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just our journey. It's just our path and what we've experienced and what's worked for us and hasn't worked for us. And if it's not resonating with them, or it's not, they're not in that season of life where it's going to be, pertinent and relevant, then, moveon.org.
Yeah. But you went straight to mom mode. You were like, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. And I'm like,
Exactly.
She's
like,
like-
how is that so difficult? Like, I don't, vomit bad remarks, mean remarks to people when I see something that's not pertinent to me, or I'm like, it's not my thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. I just scroll. Keep on scroll.
Yes,
But I don't know. Just be nice. That's
be
always
nice.
been my philosophy. Just
I
be a
don't know.
nice human being.
I'm looking at it from the
whatever.
glass half full, which is like,
Sure.
they have to say something because they want to knock us down, knock us back into
Right.
alignment with everyone else. And I think that's
Be
part
conventional.
of the problem. It is. And I think for you and I, it's,
don't wanna
it's be conventional. Yes. Yeah, we want to be unconventional. And I think for you and I, it's interesting because we are both very much, my entire career has been in the service type business,
Yeah.
helping people, and we are service people to a fault.
Yes.
And so when you get a bad review, or whether
Yeah.
it's through our business, or whether it's through our through these things that we do, somebody like dings you, you're just, I really take it to heart.
Yeah.
But what? Also, I think I've done this long enough to know, it is what it is. Haters gonna hate.
Right. Exactly.
And that is what it is. So, so we're actually now we're
legit.
We consider ourselves legit, damn near famous.
We're famous.
We are content creators.
Yeah,
the only
we
thing
are.
missing now is your OnlyFans page.
Oh, okay. We're going there.
Yeah. No.
All right.
No, we're not gonna be doing an OnlyFans page. Then we really would get the haters. Like, you made me pay to look at that. It's like,
Whatever.
oh, boy.
Whatever.
So yes, hopefully we'll have some less painful content today. So that was that was fun. We're working through that one.
Yeah, we are.
So
It's
yeah,
fine. It's fine.
I remodeled our set to work off my anxiety
Maybe
about
that's
it.
why. Maybe that's why you got that burr
so.
under your
Yeah.
saddle. Okay.
Well, and I also think that's an important point as well too, which I think all feedback is good feedback, because if somebody and just so you know, like, we have gotten infinitely more like, thank you so much for what you do, and just great feedback from people, and we love that, and we appreciate it. But shitty feedback also helps you, like, okay, how can I use that in a positive manner?
Right. Well, I think there's a difference between useful feedback and just spewing negative words.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to maybe leave a not so raving review, then, be constructive about it. Give us some feedback on how we can actually improve.
Yeah.
Or, other topics or however, but just don't, whatever, spew the negativity.
but mom, don't send any negative feedback. Like Craig needs some Rogaine or
Right.
or a toupee.
That would be awesome.
I know. It's like, I know it's you, mom.
Oh my
Stop
gosh,
it.
that's awesome.
So yeah, no, you know what? We're having a great time. We are figuring this shit out and just like, oh, because there's days it's like, oh, do we really want to go on there and do that again? But it's like, we really do have a great time. We're getting great feedback from people. We've got a lot of cool stuff and content and guests coming up here. We're really sort of trying to expand our horizons here and keep pushing for you guys. And you know, we are in an interesting little niche because, you know, a lot of stuff that's on social and YouTube isn't really designed for the 40 to 70 crowd, and we're trying to
as couples
especially give a voice to our generation, because it's important, because I think our generation's suffering in a lot of ways that people don't really talk about, and
especially people in our season of life as empty nesters. I think we just kind of get lost in the shuffle of empty nest syndrome, and it's not really talked about.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I think a lot of relationships suffer from it.
Yeah. We're not fading into the background. So on to sleep. And this is actually a good dovetail from that topic of me laying awake in bed at night going, hey, how can I...
How can we eliminate all the haters in the world?
Yeah. Maybe I didn't even put that in the like things you should do to get better sleep. It's like, don't read the comments.
Negative comments. Right.
Because if you want to lose some sleep, read the negative comments. Maybe I should just go be a greeter at Walmart. I can still be with people and meet people and not have to worry about it. Actually, they probably get just as many negative comments.
Probably.
Especially or the Costco guy, you know, who has to like count the, you know, like, oh, sorry, you messed it up. So, all right, so let's talk about sleep and sleep, why it matters. And we've talked, you know, this is sort of part of a series that we've been doing, talking about things that are important as you age. One of the first things was hormones, and
the main pillars.
I'm not gonna beat the hormone drum too much, but hormones are important. They really do help you sleep a lot better, especially for women, because of, you know, all the crazy hot flashes. Primarily, we just actually were having a conversation with some friends of ours who she is a little. They're a little.
She's a year younger than I am.
You're younger than you are, and she was like, "Oh, these hot flashes are killing me." And it's like, "What are you doing about hormones?" She's like, I'm going to go get them checked out. It's like, yeah, go do that.
Yeah.
So always number one for us. And it seems like all roads, you know,
should start with that.
With hormones. Get your hormones tested, especially for females.
Yes.
Because, you know, she was like, my testosterone was good, but my estrogen and progesterone are low.
Very low.
Yeah, very low. And it's like, oh, yeah, that'll do it. That'll especially make those hot flashes just cook off and make you not sleep.
Right, exactly.
So, and then also, you know, there are things, especially as we age, that can be an issue, you know, of just trying to make sure you're getting good quality sleep and kind of preparing to have quality sleep. One of those, and this is generally perceived as a male issue, which is snoring.
Sure.
Yeah. One of us snores and one of us doesn't. Apparently I do snore.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. But I don't let it, I don't rumble. I don't make the,
I don't hear it. Doesn't bother me.
Yes. So my
I never
quality
used
sleep,
to be a snorer. I've not snored.
No, it's a more recent
I'd say
thing.
probably a hormonal. I'd say probably perimenopause, before I had my hormones checked. That's when, you know, you start putting on weight and just lethargic feelings, and I just think that's when it started.
Yeah. It hasn't stopped after losing weight and getting squared away.
No, it
So
hasn't.
you actually discovered, I'd seen something somewhere about mouth tape.
Yes, mouth tape.
So you have used mouth tape, and it does work.
It does work. Mouth tape is exactly what it sounds like. But it's shaped like this. It's shaped kind of like an arc, and it's got a little hole right in the middle, and you apply it to your mouth right before you go to bed, and it allows a space for you to breathe through without your jaw dropping open and your tongue falling back, which is a primary cause of snoring, can be. Mm-hmm. And the nights that I remember to wear it, it works. But also, sometimes it can be difficult too with the moisturizers that I use. If it's too much or whatever, it doesn't stay on very well. But the nights that I have used it, it's very helpful. apparently.
What's funny is you wake up with that damn thing in the strangest places. It's like it's stuck to your neck. It's stuck in your
My
hair.
hair.
It's stuck to the headboard. It's on your pillow.
Some nights it stays on totally fine.
The funny ones are when she's gets out of bed or you're walking around. I'm like, it's in your hair. And she's like, it's like, oh, your mouth tape is in your hair.
My mouth tape is in my hair.
Don't get clear mouth tape because you could probably end up like going to work with your mouth tape stuck in your hair. Yeah. So there's lots of different varieties of things out there that you can do. There's all different kinds.
Sure.
We've tried one and it works. You have to remember to put it on.
Yeah.
I think my defense against snoring is I go to bed before you do.
You do.
Yes. So I'm
most nights.
I don't know that I was always an early bird, but I am now an early bird.
Yes.
I think I'm officially old now because it's like 5 o'clock. I'm ready for dinner.
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by 7:30, I'm hanging on by a thread.
I'm like, you gotta wait till 8 o'clock.
I don't know if we've already told this, but we got this blanket. It's
we do.
I don't know what flavor is that blanket.
It's a fry.
But it's this big, fluffy, softest blanket ever. I can't even put it. I literally cannot put it on me if we're sitting on the couch.
No,
it is like a warm hug, and you just go, even if you're wearing it, and I lean over and I lay down in your lap, I fall asleep.
He does every time.
Just my cheek is touching it. It's
every
like
time,
and that's probably because
that's when your body's saying that you need more sleep.
But I go to sleep early. I usually try and get up. I try and like 8 o'clock, hang on till 8 o'clock.
8 p.m.
Yes, 8 p.m.
Before you go to bed.
And then I'll go upstairs. And
you don't go to sleep at 8 p.m.
I don't go to sleep. I go upstairs. And
you start your bedtime routine.
My bedtime routine is removing the 87 pillows off of our bed and stacking them in a orderly manner in the corner of the room.
And you've nailed that. I must say, you have... Removing the pillows, your system is awesome. Removing the pillows, stacking them up, nails. Yeah. Totally great.
Yeah. Blue ribbon.
Gold star.
So I'll do that, brush my teeth, get ready for bed.
Just relax.
So we don't watch the same things at night.
No, we do not.
Like you're all about chick flicks and
BBC.
Anything BBC.
BBC.
Like what's the one you just finished watching? Paradise.
No, The Paradise. The Paradise.
Maybe that's why I fall asleep, because that stuff is boring.
No, whatever.
So yeah, you love that. I go upstairs and watch car shows and engineering shows, and which I make you watch sometimes downstairs because we have YouTube hooked to our. So I make you watch them sometimes, and that puts you to sleep.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
I go upstairs usually by 8. By 8:30, usually come up around 9, and I'm sound asleep with YouTube blaring away, which is an interesting thing that you hear a lot about, and that is turning off your devices, like the flicker kind of thing, turning off the TV, turning off your phone.
Yes,
will help you go to bed.
Well, it helps your circadian rhythm.
Yes,
basically. I mean, your circadian rhythm is on a pattern where around 7:30 is where it naturally wants to start calming and going into a bedtime routine. But then you have this horrible, I don't know, habit, whatever, preference, whatever it is you like to watch these crazy videos right before you fall asleep, which doesn't help your circadian rhythm or your peacefulness in your bedtime routine to encourage your melatonin production, because as we get older, it decreases anyways. But you watch these crazy
not always
videos.
like police stuff. But I usually watch car stuff.
You normally watch
I'm a car guy.
shows,
I'm a
like
motorhead.
rebuilding cars and all that stuff.
The hardest part about that, most of the ones I watch are about an hour long.
Right. There's no way you're lasting an hour.
They do like deep dive, like nuts and bolts, taking stuff apart. The hardest part with that is it's an hour long show that takes me a week to watch. Because I remember about the first 50, so I have to remember like where did I fall asleep, and then watch it the next time. Yeah. So it takes a long time when you sleep during your shows. I probably have them memorized because it's playing in my brain as it's going.
But it's hard for me to go to bed if you wake up when I've come upstairs and you start playing a cop, I don't know, film footage, whatever it is, and there's shooting and screaming and fighting and like literal, not make-believe acting stuff, real footage of this stuff. I'm like, that cannot be good for your sleep.
And I go straight to sleep
Oh
and don't
my
have
gosh.
bad dreams.
Well, I don't, because then I'm all freaked out about it.
Yeah. But it's interesting though, because I think maybe this is true for both of us. I think I sleep better now than I did in my 30s and 40s.
I would.
Like I used to have I used to be a horrible sleeper. Like I would have night terrors and just wake up screaming and like crazy, just kooky stuff.
Yeah, you did have, but you didn't always have night terrors. That was after, we went on an RV trip during that time period. That's when those developed because of the anxiety of changing all the time, changing locations with a 2-year-old. But I think that I sleep better now that I've had my hormones tested, and I'm on progesterone in the evenings, which is phenomenal. Helps with sleep and just moods, mood swings and stabilizing that, and so that's been wonderful.
And you've always been you need a solid 8 hours, and you're in your happy place if you can get 9 or 10 hours.
Yeah, I used to sleep a lot longer than that.
You as a kid, even your parents would say oh my God, we'd have to go and drag
1
her out of
o'clock,
bed.
they'd have to wake me up and get
but you do pretty good. Although even now, for those of you that are following our little crazy fitness journey, I get up early. I usually wake up between 4 and 4:30, and then I start my day and try and get you up by 5:30
ish.
Yeah, trying to get you up by 5:30.
Depending on the day.
And we do that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yes.
But we were doing it 5 days a week, and we found you by Thursday, Friday, you were not in your happy place. You were a cranky little girl.
I was cranky.
We walk every day, but we go to the gym 4 days a week.
Yes.
And that Wednesday, I just sneak out of bed in the morning and let you sleep as long as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I think you slept until 7:30.
It wasn't quite 7:30, but that's okay.
It was out there. But you'll sleep till 8 or 9 o'clock. Some mornings I have to go in and hey.
But as I age, I
hungry.
can't. The latest I can sleep now, and this is really sleeping in, is 9 o'clock. If I get to 9 o'clock, that is an
And then you wake up and you're like, why did you let me sleep so long? So a couple of things as we age. One of the things is that our circadian rhythms change, and a lot of that has to just do with kind of aging. A lot of it has to do with also just the different things that we worry about.
Anxiety.
Yeah. And I think one of those things, it's interesting as we've gotten older is, when you're young and you have kids, you don't sleep as well, only because you just have this sort of one ear always open for them.
Yes.
And so you get used to that sort of sleeping light. And then you just, that sort of sticks. So circadian rhythms can change. The other thing that happens is melatonin. Your body produces less melatonin, which is a
sleep enhanced.
Yes. I think, is it an amino acid? I can't remember what it is. But yeah, melatonin is great. We discovered melatonin maybe 10 years ago, and I take one we both take one every night.
Well, it's dosage based, because I think it's 5 milligrams we take.
Yeah.
And they say to start with 1 or 2 milligrams, because at some point melatonin can be in higher dosages for certain people. It can be a very bizarre dream enhancement.
Yeah. And it's funny because our kids, our daughter was struggling with sleep, and we said, try melatonin. And we gave her some, and she was like, I'm not taking that stuff anymore. That gives me weird dreams.
Weird dreams, right.
And it's funny because it has the opposite effect on me. I don't have as many weird dreams.
Right.
So, so I think melatonin is a big one. The other thing that we like to take with our melatonin is magnesium. Magnesium glycinate, which is good for sleep.
Yeah, that's the magnesium. There's about 8 or 9 different types of magnesium, and glycinate is the one that you should be taking for sleep. So if you're taking magnesium glycinate in the morning with your morning supplements, you might want to switch that, because that could be producing or encouraging kind of sleepiness.
Yeah, then you need more coffee.
So
we take so the two things we take at night to go to bed are a melatonin and magnesium glycinate.
Right. And I've also eliminated my melatonin at night. I only take my progesterone, which helps with sleep, the magnesium glycinate, and I only take one of those. So I'm eliminating the melatonin, and kind of as a trial, I'm doing that and seeing if I can have good quality sleep
It seems to be
with
working.
just the magnesium. Yeah, it's been great. And I don't feel kind of blah in the morning when I wake up.
Yeah.
When sometimes I did with melatonin.
I also know at night, if you want to, fool around, I'll reach over and like, cause I'm usually in bed and half asleep, and I'll be like, she brings out, cause you have she has my drugs. So like,
They're not drugs.
so I'm like, I reach out and I'm like, okay, where's my melatonin and my magnesium? And I'll see her like set them on her nightstand. And she's
We're
like,
not ready for those yet.
we're not ready for those yet. I'm like, I'm kind of ready. And she's like, no.
Nope.
So yeah. Just so you know, for people out there, if this is sort of could be one of those silent calls for help, but like she's withholding my medication for sexual favors.
You can't blame a girl.
No, because if you give me those two things and then you want to fool around, it'd be like,
good night.
Yeah, it's like sorry, like
Yeah, right.
No, I'm off duty right now. So
There's a method to my madness.
Ladies, that's a good way to like telegraph. Like, where's my?
Right.
I need my meds. That's for us is a big deal. I also feel like there's a ton of great studies talking about sleep as part of your physical health as well, especially as we age.
Yeah.
So things like weight management, heart health.
Anxiety, I think, is really important. I think if you're carrying around so much anxiety and you're not finding other outlets to deal with that anxiety, whether it's yoga, meditation, journaling, exercise, whatever, you're going to carry that into your sleep cycle, and your brain is not going to be able to process all of that, and it's going to wreak havoc on your circadian rhythm and your ability to heal and to reduce the anxiety that you're dealing with during the day. So.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot, so just that inflammation.
Yeah.
So you want to try and mitigate that or reduce that as much as possible. Sleep is your time your brain sort of takes out all the trash and kind of processes your day. Sure. But your body is also really working hard to kind of fix things. We were just talking about this. One of the things, we've been really pushing ourselves in the gym, and our new app that we've been using, Fitbod, is great, but also it's like, oh my God, really? You want us to do what?
Yeah,
and
it's leveling us up.
It is leveling us up, and we've been doing it, and we're hanging in there. But like, oh my gosh, like this week, it's my shoulders. Like we've been working our shoulders hard. It's like, whoa. So, it's like, it's one of those things like staying asleep. It's like one of my biggest problems staying asleep is like I'll roll over on my shoulder and be like, oh crap.
It startles you awake because it hurts.
I'm like, oh, like go back to sleep. So
that's funny.
But it is your time. And I do notice like when you wake up in the morning, especially after you've worked out hard or you just done something physically, that you do feel better if you do get a good night's sleep. So it's important that you
it helps
prioritize that.
Yeah, it's really important to prioritize your sleep and the bedtime routine of like you said, you generally go to bed around the same time. I generally go to bed around the same time. I think sticking with that as a routine is really, really important because they say that if you stay up till midnight, then it's not enough time for your brain. Once you do go to sleep after that midnight hour, it doesn't give your brain enough time to go through the cycles it needs to completely get into a solid REM sleep long enough to do all of the healing and cleansing that it needs to while you're sleeping. Yeah. So I think it's interesting because the next time you're staying up late, the next morning, take note of how you feel. If your memory is kind of off, if you're a little foggy, if you're just a little lethargic, it's probably because you stayed up a little bit too late. And it's not that I'm saying don't ever do that, but just know that that's going to be on the schedule the next day.
Well, and we've done that where we stay out. We go to, we're out someplace, we're at a party or you just stay out late. And the next morning you're just dragging ass. You're just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Like, I'm going to do this.
Exactly.
So, and then I think one of the things that we all deal with is caffeine. Is an issue. Like I was never a big caffeine person. I never really necessarily needed it until I probably got into my late 40s. And then I started drinking coffee in the morning and then I started drinking it in the afternoon.
Yep.
And at first it really was tough. Like it would affect my sleep. And now I don't think it does.
It does mine. I cannot drink caffeine. I only drink maybe 1.5, 2 cups in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
But anything after noon 1 o'clock for me, there's no way I can drink regular coffee or
Yeah.
or a caffeinated beverage.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the smell and taste of coffee. I could drink decaffeinated coffee,
She
but
loves
still
the
there's
smell.
caffeine in there. There is still
You love the
caffeine
smell
in
and
it.
taste of my coffee in the
Yes, I
afternoon.
do.
Because like we cannot be in the same room, and I'll come in with a cup of coffee, and she'll be like, "That smells so nice," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is. It's really nice." And she's like, "Can I have a little sip?" And then I'm always like,
Right.
like, "Yeah, you're going to get your lipstick on my coffee mug."
Right.
Like, boo. So yeah, caffeine is a thing, like, especially if you're drinking, sodas or things like Red Bull, or those type of energy drinks. If you need those things, there's probably some other underlying issues you should be looking at in terms of just your overall health and making sure, because I mean, man, too much caffeine, too much sugar can really keep your brain and your body jacked up. It causes adrenal fatigue.
Sure.
And then you just get in these crazy up and down issues. So insomnia, snoring. We talked about hormonal changes. That's a big deal, especially for women, but it's also a big deal for guys as well.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it for me, as I found when I was heavier and my hormones were low, I didn't physically exert myself as much as I do now, which sounds strange, but now I really actually exert myself way more.
Yeah.
And I think for me, and I think it may be true for men as well, when you are doing, when you are you feel physically fit, you want to work out, you're, walking, lifting, doing things, playing pickleball or doing other things like that. And you're burning up some of those calories that you're taking in. You sleep a lot better after a hard day's work. I mean, I think that's just a general truth for, throughout our lives. But I think also for men, getting your testosterone right and exerting yourself goes a long ways towards making you get to the end of the day and you're like, I'm ready to go sleep.
Yeah. I think at one point in time when you were at your heaviest, I think when you had done a sleep study and you were battling with your night terrors at the same time, you were really, really close to being put on a CPAP, weren't you? Didn't the doctor say that could help? And that was like a big wake up call for you and I. Like, we need to address and prioritize our sleep because we didn't want you to have to be on a CPAP.
No.
We've had family members and friends who have been on CPAPs, and it can be helpful. Excuse me. It can be helpful, but it's also a burden too. And
I couldn't imagine sleeping with that thing on my
nose.
On my face, on my mask.
Yeah.
I would strangle myself with a cord.
Yeah.
Probably.
But some people, they do have to do that. But our philosophy is, I really want to get to the core as to what is the cause of it. I mean, with me and my snoring, I think it's just the physiology of me dropping my tongue back from the roof of my mouth, and that causes that. So, but I think it's really important that if you have that mindset that you want to not just put a Band-Aid on it and really get to the cause of it, because if it's a weight issue, then maybe it's tied to a hormone issue and being too sedentary or whatever the case may be. But I think that to be more investigative and to try and find the core cause of all of these other symptoms that reveal themselves, I think is really important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there are other things you can do in terms of biohacking. We've touched on a little bit of that, which is, magnesium, melatonin. Gary Brecka, who is just, I think, one of the true geniuses in this sort of biohacking space. He's a big fan of you got to get sunlight, especially morning sunlight. When you get out in the morning and walk, that morning sunlight, it sets your circadian rhythm. It does. It gets it correct, So especially even if you're just one of those people, you just have to eat wherever you're at. You're inside, you're working all day, you're inside. Try and get out and get some sunshine. If you're not getting enough sunshine, or have your vitamin D tested, that's a giant.
That's huge.
You maybe just need more vitamin D. Our body really struggles with,
which most Americans do need more vitamin D.
Both magnesium and vitamin D, which are critical to overall health and sleep and wellness. Most Americans, most people in the world now are desperately low.
Are deficient.
Yeah, because we're not getting it from our food sources because our soils are depleted of magnesium, and we just don't get as much sunlight because of sunscreen and cancer worries and things like that. But vitamin D is a big one. So just trying to get some of that morning sunlight where it's it's filtered, it's not direct sunlight, the UV is lower, but it triggers something in your brain that really helps you to set those rhythms correctly. Limiting caffeine, we've talked about that. Using supplements is important. Blackout curtains, there's several schools of thought, like where we live in a too noisy, too lit environment.
Right.
So trying to get your environment as dark as possible, which, we have shutters and we do a good job of that. I actually go around and because we have our humidifier on at night because we live in a very arid area, so I like turn off the lights on the humidifier. Right. We have plugs, where you have to plug our phones in, and they have it's by our nightstand, but it's got this light on it. It's white light that's on.
That's
so I'm like
tell you that it was working.
Putting like electrical tape over that to try and like stop that. Shut the bathroom door. Any places these sources of light and sources of noise.
Put our phones in sleep mode so the screens are not illuminated.
Yes, and then noise, overall noise. Sometimes it's just environmental. You just can't escape that. But, there's also white noise generators. Sure. We have a lot of friends who that's a big thing for them is they turn on the noise generators to just sort of drown out that noise. I've never tried it, although I have tried it. It drives me crazy. Our doctor's office have these white noise generators in the office. And every time I go in, I ask, does anybody else hear that noise? It sounds like a scratching record. And they're just like, no, we don't hear that. Like white noise is probably, you'd have to get used to it. But there's those sleep apps where people read things to you. Yeah. Our daughter loves those.
Oh, she loves those.
So she does, I think, who is it? Matthew McConaughey or something.
Matthew McConaughey has the #1 requested voice to be reading books to.
Which is funny because I listened to his book not too long, Green Light.
Green Light.
And I wasn't sure I was going to like it, and I really loved it.
Yeah, he has a great voice.
He has a great voice, but I don't know that he would put me to sleep. I would find him probably...
Maybe it was the #1 requested voice by women. That's probably why.
That's probably 100%.
100%.
Yeah. So,
but there was another... You touched on a point on supplements, and omega-3 supplements are huge additive to help with your sleeping.
Yes.
With your sleep
and
enhancement.
I actually take 2 different fish oils.
You do.
One that is helpful for just general omega-3s, and one is for pain management. Yeah. And we're going to do a show on those. We're actually trying to get the manufacturer of the supplements that we use to come on and talk with us. Yeah. And just talk about omega-3s. Another thing that's very deficient in people's diets, just because we don't live by the ocean anymore.
Right.
So, and then also I think there's several studies. This is Dr. Wendy Troxel talks about couples who sleep well report higher relationship satisfaction. So, I think that's a good thing. You're not cranky and tired and that's actually, I think, kind of a bonus of the whole empty nest thing. Yeah. Because you're less worried about your kids. You're always worried about your kids, but you're not worried about get up, go to school, don't forget your homework. I need to make you lunch. I need to
the management.
The management of another life. Yes. You have to still manage me, and vice versa. Right. So, but I think as we get older, there are also other things, once we get to this empty stage life, a lot of people, this is some prime earning years. So we actually tend to step up our lives in terms of overall just stress levels of work and growth. We may be at a time where, your business is successful and you're trying to figure out how to take it to the next level or possibly sell. That creates a lot of anxiety and making sure that you're just engaging with your spouse on those things and keeping them in the loop, because it's important that you're both on the same page for those type of big activities in your lives. Yeah. So, making sure that that's a thing that you, and having quality time with each other. Great sex helps. Yeah. You want to get a good night's sleep? Yeah. Have some great sex.
Have some great sex.
Yeah.
Great intimacy together.
That'll put you to sleep every time.
Yeah.
That's
wonderful.
That's way better than melatonin.
Yeah, it is.
So, on that note, we've talked about lots of different things over the last couple of weeks, but sleep being sort of that fourth pillar for us of like things that you really do need to make sure you're paying attention to. And sometimes all of this stuff starts to feel a little like, oh my God, like how do I manage all of this? And my answer is always eat the elephant one thing at a time. Try melatonin. Try doing one or two of these things and see if it helps you to kind of give you a little bit of better sleep. An extra hour is huge.
It is. Make it a priority. Make it a priority, and you'll see the results.
Yeah. So again, thank you for being here. We always do appreciate it. We love your kind and gentle comments on all of our content. Great. And follow us if you like what you're hearing. Like us, give us a thumbs up, write us a review, write us something really nice and sweet, or you know what? Actually, write us something naughty. Or not naughty would be nice.
Naughty would be nice.
But we appreciate you being here, and we want you to go out there and have an unconventional life.
Yeah. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
The views and opinions shared on this podcast are our own and reflect our personal experiences and beliefs. We encourage listeners to take what resonates with them and to seek professional advice where needed, especially in matters related to health, fitness, relationships, and parenting. Our conversations are candid, unfiltered, and intended to inspire, but they may not be suitable for all audiences. Always remember, what works for us may not work for everyone, and your journey is uniquely your own.